The simplicity of baked ziti, but the deliciousness of lasagna. That's right, this is my ZITI lasagna recipe. Everybody loves this. It is so good, so satisfying. So let's go ahead and get right into the ingredients. So this is split up into 3 different parts. We've got the sauce, we've got the pasta, and the bechamel. So let's start off with the sauce. I'm using a spicy ground pork. I like to break it apart ahead of time, salt and pepper it so it's easier to cook. Then for the sauce, I'm just using a jarred sauce. You can use whatever you've got on hand. If you're using canned tomatoes, it's just gonna take about 2 to 3 times longer to cook. Also, I've got some tomato paste. Now for my vegetables, real simple. I've got some onions that I've minced up. I use a mandolin to get it nice and thin. And then for my carrots, I also mince those up, but I use a food processor. The smaller you can get these 2 ingredients, the better and the faster this will cook. All right, for my pasta, of course, I'm using ZITI. You can use whatever you want. Honestly, whatever you've got in the pantry, whatever you have on hand. ZITI is just what everybody knows this dish for, so that's what I'm using today. Now, last but not least, the bechamel. And this is the big difference with my recipe. So I've got my 4 cups of milk. You're gonna wanna warm this up in the microwave or in the stove, whatever you wanna do, and get it ready for the bechamel. I've got some butter, I've got some flour, and that's the basics for a good bechamel. I pizzazz it up with some Parmesan cheese that I shredded a little bit earlier, and it's ready to go, and it's gonna go into the bechamel. And then I top this whole dish with some mozzarella. Same thing, I just shredded it a little bit thicker, and I will put this on the top before I throw all this into the oven. All right, so the first thing you wanna do is make sure you have your pasta water boiling. I'm gonna put some salt into it, and that's gonna be ready to go. I'm gonna get started with my sauce because that's gonna take a while, and while that is finishing up, I'm gonna cook everything else. First thing I'm gonna do is throw in some olive oil, which I'll put into a warmed up pan. I've got medium heat going on here. So I throw that in. Now normally I would put garlic in this, but I don't have any garlic. So I'm just gonna go with it. And the first thing I wanna do is brown my meat. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my ground pork. Now this is hot Italian sausage. You don't have to use Italian sausage. You can use just regular sausage, and it doesn't have to be spicy, but I find the hot Italian sausage is perfect. It gives it a nice kick, and it's really not too spicy. So the goal here is to just brown your meat. You don't have to cook it all the way through because you're gonna finish doing that later. And at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and scoot everything off to the side because I'm going to start cooking my carrots and onions. So this is a shortcut way to be able to do this all in one pot without having to remove the meat and cook your other ingredients. Now, normally I would put the garlic in here first, but I don't have any right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and toss in my onions first. And as you can see, I'm putting it off to the side because I wanna make room for the carrots. Really important that you give the carrots a good sweat initially so that you soften them. But remember, I'm gonna be cooking this for about at least 40 minutes before I add it to the sauce, so it will get a chance to cook through. At this point, you're gonna also wanna add some salt and pepper. So I've been cooking this at a high heat for about 10 minutes, and you have a choice. You can either continue to cook this for another 10 minutes and really cook it down, or start adding your sauce. Remember, this is gonna be off to the side, and you can continue just letting it cook while you prepare the bechamel sauce. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my sauce, some of that tomato paste, move it off to the side with a little bit of extra water, and let it simmer while I prepare the bechamel. So my pasta sauce has been going for about 15 minutes. I want it to continue cooking. I've put it off to the side. I've added my pasta into the pasta pot. That will go until just about 1 minute before it's done because I want it al dente. Now I'm gonna start with the bechamel. I've got my milk warming up over here. I've got my pot where I'm gonna make the bechamel warmed up, and we're gonna get started with the butter and the flour. First thing you wanna do is add your butter. Super easy. Want to make sure that that's melted all the way through before adding your flour. So you're going to want to make sure that all of your butter is melted to the point where it's bubbling but not browning. I'm going to go ahead and lower the temperature and now add my flour. The goal here is to cook the flour until it's combined with all the butter and it gives off a buttered toast scent. All right, once you smell that buttered toast scent, you're gonna go ahead and turn your heat down. I like to remove it off the heat partially, if not all the way, and then get your warmed up milk and you're gonna add it slowly. Be very careful because it is going to splatter. Continue to mix as you're pouring it in. Once it's all integrated together, gonna return it to the heat. A little bit of browning is totally okay. The goal is to continuously stir this so that nothing burns and that milk is getting mixed in with the flour. Woo! The sauce is looking perfect and smelling amazing. The bechamel, creamy and cheesy. Look at that. That's exactly what you want. And the pasta is done. I put the pasta into both of these dishes, and this is what makes this so easy. Normally with lasagna, you do different layers, but you're only gonna do one layer of sauce and pasta, mix it all together, put the bechamel on top, sprinkle your mozzarella cheese, throw it in the oven, and you're good to go. Let's go ahead and put this all together so we can add it to the oven to bake. Looking so delicious. I can't wait to eat it, but we have one more step, which is adding it to the oven. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it into a 375-degree oven for about 30 to 40 minutes. Uncovered, it's gonna be perfectly golden brown and ready to eat. So let's go ahead and do that, and we'll see you soon. Whoo! That is perfectly baked. that golden brown crust. That's where you get that caramelization. And of course, we already dug in. I'm gonna go ahead and taste this. But if you wanna check out all of my recipes when it comes to pasta dishes, click or tap the screen right here. If you wanna subscribe to my channel, click or tap the screen right here. Let me try it. Oh. It's that kick. It's all about the kick. It's 2 out of 5.